As you saw in the first two videos in this series, CFD's reform process allows us to create systems that have been designed to solve problems, and do this in a way that brings people together. If we're to do that, we're going to need some basic rules, some principles we can unite behind, that can act as a foundation on which we can build. This is not something that's ever talked about. Our current system is all we've known. There didn't appear to be any way of changing it. We're subjects, not citizens, so we've never had reason to give them much thought. At CFD, we know we can change things, and so we have thought about them, and come to 4 basic principles we believe that most decent people can support. The first one is that no one should be doing politics. Politics is the pursuit of power. More clearly, politics is the pursuit of power over other people, the imposition of one group's ideas or ideology on the rest of us. No one should be doing that. It's immoral, and we know it. From that idea comes our second principle, inequality of power. This is something that can only be expressed through referendums, when everyone, from the youngest voter to the First Minister, has exactly the same amount of power, one vote. Our third principle is that our different ways of thinking, left, right or centre, are the product of evolution, and these differences are one of our greatest strengths. No one person can know all the answers to every problem we have. That's why 250,000 years of human evolution and millions of years of pre-human evolution have made us the way we are, capable of thinking, of sharing our ideas, and of working together towards common goals. We're successful as a species not in spite of our differences in attitudes and approaches to problems. We're successful because of them. Our last principle is about consent. The only legitimate form of government is government by consent. That means the people of a nation must be the sovereign power in that nation, able to decide for themselves what system of government they have. At the moment, sovereignty lies in Westminster and the Senate, and we can see that it doesn't work. So having got the principles sorted out, is that it? No, we need to go deeper. You might think our reform process and our principles give us a fresh start, unencumbered by the ideologies of the past. A blank sheet of paper on which we can write anything we like, but it's not quite as simple as that. There is one thing that influences everything we do, everything we think, everything we write, or choose to read, or choose to watch. It's something we all share. DNA. The question is that a good influence? The quick, simple answer is yes, but as we've seen in a bad system, the efforts of the decent majority to lead good lives can be wrecked by small numbers of selfish people who pursue power and then abuse it. Preventing the abuse of power means sharing power rather than concentrating it. We have a word for the sharing of power. It's called pluralism. It comes naturally to most of us. We don't try and impose our way of doing things on others, and we ask them not to impose their ideas on us. At CFD, we make the connection between power sharing, good decision making, and our success as a species. But human success is no accident. It came about through evolutionary pressure. For much of human history, we've been little more than an easy meal for any hungry predator. We can't run very fast, and we've got no horns or tusks with which to defend ourselves. The evolution of 2 traits in particular enabled us to survive: intelligence and cooperation. The evolution of cooperation was essential. One person on their own is prey, an easy meal for any passing carnivore, but half a dozen people working together, cooperating, and armed with simple wooden spears become predators. Cooperation depends on the evolution of empathy, the ability to put yourself in someone else's position, to understand what they are doing and why they are doing it. Morality, a sense of right and wrong, is the product of empathy. But there's more to our success than just cooperation. No one person can know everything. 2 heads are better than one, so we learn to communicate, share ideas, and we were stronger for it. Pluralists recognise that almost everyone has something to contribute. This is essential in decision making, as it ensures the full range of solutions are always available to solve a problem. What is also required is the equality of power that is at the heart of the campaign. Where this exists, none can be excluded or alienated, and this is essential both in good decision making, so that all possible solutions to a problem are always available, and for the creation of a successful society. We have been remarkably successful as a species, and our evolution as social animals has been central to this success. We're not especially adaptable as animals, but what we have been very good at doing is adapting and creating environments to meet our needs. Our ability to do this has depended on our ability to find the right solution to each problem we've faced. Our success has come about not just because most of us are empathic, moral animals, but because we are essentially pluralistic. Most of us are tolerant of others with different views, and we enjoy communicating. It's our ability to listen, learn, and cooperate in applying the knowledge gained from sharing our experiences that has made us successful. Politics doesn't work like that. Politics divides us. Politics is the pursuit of power over others. Any decent person will recognise that this is inherently wrong. Politics is a poison in our world. The antidote is pluralism, and pluralism is what CFD is all about. We don't need politics. We need good decision-making processes. Campaign for Democracy systems give us the chance to put good systems into place and move beyond politics. The great battle in politics is usually seen as being between left and right, a battle between socialism and capitalism. Most people recognise that both sides have something to offer, and that both cooperation and competition have value. But the conflict between left and right still exists. We've explained that what is going on is a deeper and very real divide, a conflict between the selfish, those on both left and right who believe their way is the only way, and a more generous majority. The question is, can we move beyond this ideological battle between left and right? Most of us already have, but that divide persists and has done so for over a century, with every generation providing new recruits to each cause. To move beyond this, we have to provide something more than an ideology, something rooted in science, but something that is also easily and instinctively understood by all who hear it. That in itself is not enough. It has to become so widely understood that it becomes something that underpins all political discourse, the go-to explanation for pluralism and all that pluralism leads to. We have to accept that there's a minority of people who are or can be obsessive, focused on one point of view to the exclusion of others. That's not a bad thing in itself. This can lead to them pushing boundaries, to them looking beyond the received wisdom for new ways of doing things. The problem is, if they've taken a wrong turn, as at some point we all do, then that obsession can persist, and in the case of politics, is passed from generation to generation. If Campaign for Democracy's ideas are sound and become widespread, the more passionate or obsessive amongst us will get to pluralism before they get to capitalism or socialism. People who are obsessive about socialism or capitalism can do a lot of harm. Someone who's passionate about pluralism isn't going to be a problem for the rest of us. OK, their YouTube brands might be a bit weird, but they won't be compulsory viewing, and most importantly of all, they won't be excluded from political discourse. It's exclusion that leads to alienation and sometimes violence, and that's what we want to prevent. To do that, we're going to have some pretty powerful ideas, but as you've seen, we've got them. They're very attractive ideas, but they weren't designed to be attractive. They came about because there was a search for some honest principles that could unite people. Not because they represent some new way of thinking, but because they spring from what we are, the product of 250,000 years of human evolution. That led to a search for processes that were honest, open and fair. It's this combination of principles that are based on what we are, fair systems and ways of getting those systems into place that gives Campaign for Democracy its appeal. What we say also removes any moral justification for ideologies that in the past have attracted some people whose attitudes are deeply unattractive to most of us. That's not to say that everything about these older ideologies is wrong. Their strengths have always been that some of what they say is true. In particular, many of their criticisms of their ideological opponents are accurate. The difference between Campaign for Democracy and them is that we're quite happy to criticise the negative aspects and untruths that existing ideologies are built on, but also openly recognise their truths. Getting people to pluralism before they get to these old ideologies is important. The knowledge we acquire acts as a filter through which we view the world. Some aspects of that filter are genetic and predispose individuals to a particular attitude. There's plenty of solid research that proves this. Other filters are acquired or removed as we go through life. What matters is that we accept we have them, and we accept that these filters stop us seeing the whole picture. Campaign for Democracy is not filter-free. we have a filter. It's called evolution. As you'll have seen, everything we look at is explained from that point of view. We think it's a good starting point. The difference between our filter and the others is that the others are based on ideology. Ours is based on biology, what we are. What matters is that we recognise we have them. We go beyond that and clearly state that there are limits to the number and variety of views any one of us can cope with. That limits our decision-making ability unless we make a conscious effort to listen to the views and ideas of others. That's not always easy, but that's what real democrats do. Campaign for democracy is about making democracy work and work well. There's no shortage of psychopaths in this world who are only interested in power. They're a minority, but they are ruthless. They simply don't care about the impact their actions have on others. For them, the political parties can provide the ladders they need to climb to power. Power they then abuse. For the rest of us, the path to security and success lies in making our societies strong. That can only come about through making sure each one of us has the confidence and authority needed to keep the selfish in check. If we can do that, we can deal with the challenges we face.